Hello all YouTubers, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back in this weather presentation for February 16th, 2020. As always, please don't forget to subscribe, like the video, ring the bell notifications, as well as watching the whole video. So today, we're going to be talking about how some parts of the United States have had or especially the East, and the parts of the North Central, well not the North Central, but more the Midwest, the Southeast, and the East Coast has had a lack of snow, but a surplus of rain, and how this lack of snow and surplus of rain could lead to greater flood threats down the road, and even this could be another, trigger for something even, possibly more dangerous to happen later on in a few months. Okay, if you know the weather and when all the seasons line up, you would know what I'm talking about, what could possibly be triggered. But if you don't, stay tuned, and I will talk about what could possibly happen because of this lack of snow and surplus of rain if we stay in this pattern. Okay, so first of all, let's look at the rainfall forecast by one of the models. Obviously, it's a mystery. We will have to find out. But you can see right in this zone that I've circled there, that's where we could see 2 to 4, even 5 inches in the next 10 days. And that is rainfall, by the way. Anywhere you see that red color across the southeast, that's anywhere from 2 to 4 inches. Any of those gold shadings, so I'll highlight those, like Texas-Louisiana border, got central Mississippi, some parts of southern Georgia and southern Alabama, as well as central Georgia near Atlanta. That's where we could see 4 to 6 inches of rain in those gold, like 4 inches plus. So, how can we see all this rain? When is all this rain going to come? Over how long of a period? And what does this lack of snow mean for the United States? Stay tuned to find out. So this is the GFS model, and as a little spoiler alert, that last map I just showed you of those rainfall totals, that was from the European model. That's what the mystery model was. But as we move through time here, starting with the GFS model, you can see we do have a snowstorm, or at least some kind of winter storm, moving up across the Great Lakes. But and I literally mean every single storm almost, has gone in a track like this, or come up from the south, but then go like this. One storm went up the East Coast, but that just went like too far off the coast, and it didn't even do anything. So, what does this lack of snow mean? Well, I'll put it out there, and one thing during the winter time, okay, if there's above average precipitation during the winter time, but the temperatures are too warm, you're going to have a surplus of rain. And that's exactly what we're having here. As you just saw here, look at the southeast, even more rainfall, okay? And it's crazy how much rainfall they've had. I mean, like dozens of inches of rain since, some places have had like almost dozens of inches of rain since the beginning of winter time. So, it's been pretty crazy. Like, GFS model, maybe some snow over Oklahoma and Texas, but I'm going to be honest with you, Oklahoma and northern Texas probably had a lot more snow than the East Coast did. So I got news for where I am. We had maybe an inch, not even. Okay? So, and then here's another kind of like a frontal system that moves across the southeast. Okay? This one comes Thursday. The last one came Tuesday. This one comes Thursday. And moving through time, okay, moves out by Friday. And look at this. We got another kind of like almost like a band. A band of rain coming through. And this is on Monday. So, and also just keep in mind, all the precipitation that falls up here, okay, I'm pretty sure this is the Mississippi River. I'm pretty sure that is. Okay. All the precipitation that falls up here is going to eventually, when the snow melts or when the rain accumulates, it's going to flow down the Mississippi River, and it's going to end up in the southeast anyway. So that's another reason why the southeast is very vulnerable. And look at some more heavy rain coming next Tuesday to the southeast. Okay, and I'm only going to go out 10 days. So we'll stop it right there. And we'll take that through, and then that's it. So the rainfall totals through next Friday, like the Friday after this one. So basically from the 16th, which is today, until maybe about like the 26th. So the next 10 days, basically. And look at this. Potentially 2 to 4 inches here from south central Texas over through Georgia. Okay, it's not just the southeast, because I know one of my previous videos I did talk about that. Okay, northern Alabama, maybe 4 to 5 inches, 4 to 6. But it's up here too. I mean, I don't know, some of this might be snow, but Iowa to Illinois, 2 to 4 inches of precipitation. Some of that could be rain, some of that could be snow. Okay? And it's just really a lot. Okay, let's go to the Europeans. I'm gonna see it play out first before I show you the rainfall totals, which I kind of already did. So here's the European model, and again, here's one system coming through Tuesday. The Thursday one they're not making as dominant, the Thursday system. Okay, and here it comes on Monday. They make this one really dominant here. And then it moves to the East Coast, but guess what? More rain. And it could even possibly become a decent coastal storm. Okay? And then we got some kind of winter storm, really strong winter storm moving through the northern plains. But it's just not getting far south enough. We just have this lack of snow. And believe me, it kills me to talk about this because, you know, I mean, some of you might know how much of a snow lover I am. So for me to talk about this, it just really hurts. It really does. So as the Canadian model, okay, again, there's Tuesday into Wednesday storm. Then a little refirings. Thursday, we got more rain. And the GFS, and I guess the GEM is too, kind of indicating a little bit of snow near the Carolina coast, just like west of Cape Hatteras, but don't count on it. Maybe a few flakes. But the GEM model, though, I just realized this. They really take this storm off the coast and develop some snow for the Carolina coast, North Carolina coast, actually, not South Carolina. Parts of South Carolina, and they really have some snow winding in behind that, so I'd be interested to see if that happens. Okay, but then it just keeps on moving through. We got another system coming in. All right, so through 10 days, I mean, the rainfall really adds up. No matter what model, no matter which of these global models you look at, okay, the precipitation is going to add up. So over the next 10 days, okay, maybe nearly 6 inches of rainfall for central Georgia. But even outside of that, from Oklahoma and Texas to the Carolina coast, we're talking about 2 to 4 inches rain. Now, it doesn't sound like much, and actually, for this area, 2 to 4, you know, maybe 2 inches of rain in a 10-day period or a 2-week period doesn't sound all that bad. It actually doesn't. It's actually pretty much what you would expect. But when you're talking about 2 to 4 inches, and maybe even up to 6 inches, we're starting to get worse now. And on top of the extremely wet soil, it just makes it 10 times worse. Okay, now when we're looking at the snowfall, because, I mean, let's say the GEM was correct and like there was snowfall on the Carolina coast, they're actually calling for a foot. When I don't count on that. Okay, don't get excited. They're saying 6 to 12 plus inches of snow on the backside of that little area of snow I showed you. But I do agree with where they're saying a few inches for like the Smoky Mountains, but no, not a foot of snow for the coastline. Maybe a few flakes behind the storm system because it's going to be developing off the coast, but that's about it. Okay, nothing greater than that. All right, now that lack of snow and surplus of rain is going to lead to some river problems. And even if we had a surplus of snow and a surplus of rain, would still do the same thing. Okay, these are the river gauges right now. In U.S., I don't know if this includes Puerto Rico. I'm pretty sure it does. But they're about 9,400 gauges. Okay? And there are actually only 100, well, I mean, not only, but there are 167 gauges, I think it's out of the lower 48, that are in flood stage, whether minor, moderate, or major. Okay, and you can see a majority of the major flood stage rivers are in the southeast. I mean, we got 3 right here. I mean, there's only 8, so 3 there, 4, 5, 6, and there's always those 2 up there in North Dakota. Well, how much do you want to bet I'm right, though? There's always 2 river gauges in North Dakota that have flood stage, or major flood stage. Let's see. Yeah, there they are. Look. So there's 6 in the southeast, and then there's 2 purple dots up there. And that's your other 2 that always seem to be in flood stage for some reason. Probably because of the snow, and because when the snow melts. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. So again, headed through the southeast, I mean, we're talking about Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. All these areas have at least minor to moderate flood stage, and some rivers, like for example, the Big Black River. You got that's the same river. So you got the Big Black River near Boveda, Mississippi, and near Betonia, Mississippi, and there's a Pearl River near Jackson. You got the Tombigbee River near Bevel Rock, and Dam, Alabama, and Tennessee River. Okay, that's a major flood stage too. So a lot of these popular rivers. Okay, actually the Mississippi River got some minor flood stages here, So the Mississippi River is not doing all that bad, but still. Okay, all these rivers, like nobody in the Southeast, like you ask everyone in the Southeast, and if they know a little bit about weather, they'll tell you that they don't need any more rain, and they're 100% right. Now, these are basically the chances of these river gauges going into flood stage, basically. So, for example, any river gauge that has any of these orange colors, okay, which is the majority of the Southeast, then the Midwest, and the North Central, and the Northern Plains, and even maybe a few in the Northeast as well. Anywhere in those orange squares you see means that those river gauges have a greater than 50% chance of going in the minor flood stage through February, March, and April. So basically like the late winter, early springtime we're talking about. Anywhere, like any place that has those red gauges, okay, those are all in the Southeast all the way up to the North Central. I don't think any gauge in the Northeast has any reds. But that's where we have a greater than 50% chance of going into moderate flood stage. And the purples are where we have a greater than 50% chance to go into major flood stage. And you can see there's a lot of purples here. So we got 76 river gauges that could go into flood stage early this spring. Okay, and on average, like when I look at the water.weather.gov and NOAA information, usually there's about, in the lower 48, there's usually about maybe 5, 6, 7 river gauges that are in major flood stage, like at a time. Like usually there'll be about a few within the lower 48 that are in major flood stage. There's always going to be a few. But for there to be potentially 76 simultaneously, that's something we got to start worrying about. And 133 being in moderate flood stage, that's got to be scary too. So here's rainfall over the last 30 days. And it's been kind of excessive. So I moved out of the way so you guys can see. Places like northwest of Atlanta, they've seen 10 to 15 inches of rain in the past 30 days. So think about it. That's like almost having like a half inch of rain every single day. Imagine it, having a half inch of rain every single day for 30 days. Basically what you're having here. Some places like a third of an inch or a half an inch of rain every single day. That's got to be kind of painful. That's not actually what we saw, but if you take 30 days and some places seeing 15 inches of rain over the past 30 days, 15 divided by 30 is half, so that's how you can pretty much get that calculation. And let's look at the precipitation outlook, okay, from the Climate Prediction Center. Here is from the 22nd of February to the 26th of February. And again, the Southeast up through the Northern Plains, we've got above average chance. Talk about some areas have a greater than 50% chance to see above average precipitation. And Northeast could see some drier times. But that will change. Look at the 8 to 14 day. So we're talking about from the 24th of February to the first day of March. The eastern 2/3 of the country is basically going to be above average precipitation potentially. At least have the greatest chances to. And this is 3 months. This is February, March, and April. And look at this. Again, the Southeast, parts of the Southeast and the Northern Plains are going to be above average potentially. And the Southwest being dry. And those fires might start back up. Thank God it's not really fire season, but Australia's been having some killer fires. It's very sad. Now you're like, if you remember from a lot of my videos, wait, this is what we use to track hurricanes. Yes, it is. That was what my trigger alert was. There you go. There's your spoiler alert. I'm actually going to talk about that briefly, but this isn't a hurricane discussion. But having that lack of snow and that enhanced precipitation and no major cold fronts, not only was there not that much snow in the East this winter, temperatures didn't get that cold. Like, I don't think we've even dropped below zero yet. In the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, it's got to happen at some point, or at least get into the single digits. The lowest temperature it's probably gotten here was like 15, maybe 13 for a couple of days. So we didn't have any major Arctic fronts to come blasting through here and cool down these waters. And the water's been staying warm, at least warmer than average. I'm not going to say they're warm, so don't go jumping in the ocean, but they're warmer than average. Matter of fact, look out the southeast coast of Florida. That's where we've been over 3 degrees Celsius above average. And look at this. By Delaware, New Jersey, the Delmarva Peninsula, above average precipitation. Above average water temperatures. Got to get into this hurricane talk now. And parts of the western Atlantic Ocean, above average. And even the Gulf of Mexico is really above average. especially the northeastern and southwestern part of the Gulf of Mexico has really been above average for the water temperatures. Okay, now, I'm not saying we're going to have a tropical storm now anytime soon. Thankfully, we still have wind shear and dry air protecting us from having a tropical system now. But still, look at these water temperatures, and this is scary. This is why a lack of snow, and not to mention we have an ENSO neutral pattern. I mean, look at this. I mean, the parts of the Caribbean, the temperatures, the sea surface temperatures are nearly in the mid-80s still. I mean, usually in the Caribbean we get down to about 79 at some point, but I mean, it's still like at 84, 83. And a majority of the Gulf of Mexico is in the mid-70s. Okay, the Gulf Stream, that's why it's so warm. Look up the southeast coast of Florida, we're above 82. Parts of the Gulf Stream in the upper 70s. I mean, Delaware, Jersey, I mean, it's still cold at like 10 degrees Celsius, which is like probably in the 50s. But I mean, it's still above average nonetheless. And look at this. Here's the Caribbean, right? Look how above average we've been, okay? Over a half degree above average. And look at this. I mean, ever since November, I mean, going all the way back to mid-November, we've always been above average. We haven't even gotten close to the average line at all. And this is the average line right here. We haven't even gotten close to that. So the fact that, I mean, you could tell that we had no Arctic fronts. I mean, not that they're going to get to the Caribbean, but nothing to really even cool us down at all. We've had no, backside of a storm system because, I mean, think about it this way. All these storm systems, if I draw this out here, all these storm systems are taking a track like this, as I told you. If we had a storm that would attract something like this, like, a more southerly track with some snow for the southeast and the mid-Atlantic, at least if we had a storm tracking through the southeast, when that low gets here, at least it can send some cold air or some cool air towards the Caribbean because of the backside of the low. But since the low pressures have been tracking all the way up this way, okay, since they've been tracking all the way up here, okay, if you get what I'm saying, that cool air behind it, whatever's left of it, can't even get to the Caribbean at all. Or maybe not even the Gulf of Mexico either. So, I mean, it's kind of a scary thought for hurricane season. But again, like I said, in about a month, I'll do my first hurricane discussion officially. Atlantic MDR, now this has nothing to do with it, because this is by Africa. Okay? This is where those hurricanes develop later in the season, but look, even that is above average right now, too. So it's a little scary of a thought. And look at the tropical cyclonic heat. There you go. There's your reason right there. So this wasn't a hurricane discussion, but this was basically saying, why this lack of snow has been troubling for rising rivers, maybe surplus of precipitation, lack of snow, rising rivers, and potentially a dangerous early on hurricane season, to say the least. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time.